Yes. Everyone wants to be an individual, to invent his own. And in the end, we cannot see neither a dominant style nor a trace of those who can eventually create it.
These were the words of a 32-year-old Ivan Alexandrovich Fomin, who believed in an architectural style that would unite the world in the light of one idea. This is the story of Ivan Fomin, the architect of unity. Sadly, there is only a nominal amount of information out there on the internet at this moment for Ivan Fomin. He was born in Oryol, Russia on February 3, 1872. He got a classical education in an unnamed high school in Riga and studied mathematics at the Moscow University. At age 22, he went to St. Petersburg to study at the Imperial Arts Academy. There he was later expelled 2 years later because of political activities. And other sources say that he was expelled 3 years later, but it's a very slight difference. He also studied in France for a year before getting a contractor's license back in Moscow, where he settled in. Although the reason wasn't stated, we can speculate that Fomin was planning to be a contractor, and obviously having a license is better than not having one, and it would also give him more job opportunities. Job opportunities would arrive in the age of the Art Nouveau movement, where he first worked for Lev Kekashev and then for Fyodor Shechtel. These two figures, being Art Nouveau masters at the time, influenced Ivan's style as well. His was similar to both Schechtel's and the Austrian Jugendstil. Jugendstil being the German counterpart of the Art Nouveau movement, translating to youth style, and becoming popular around the 1890s until 1910. It's actually pretty ironic, seeing as Jugendstil proponents created the movement as a response against Neoclassicism. This is literally what Fomin was known for now, in most recent times. It seems that he would have a change of heart somewhere around 1899, where his career first began. Going back to his work under Shechtel, he was assigned to the Moscow Art Theater project. This garnered him popularity and would also soon give him his first few commissions. In a few years, he would sadly fail to forge a new architectural society with his exhibition of art and architecture of new style, which showcased his designs. Many others were featured by the likes of Koloman Moser, Joseph Mariol Brich, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, and other Russian artists. He then set up a construction college in Moscow in 1902, the first university to give separate classes to women. This is noteworthy, as this is also the era where feminist movements also arose in Russia, demanding universities to give education to women. So it's a big deal. The change of heart I mentioned a few minutes ago would occur when he returned to St. Petersburg in 1905. He went back to get an architecture license in the Academy of Arts, and would succeed in 1909. Surprisingly, this would also win him a one-year study tour to 3 countries, those being Egypt, Greece, and Italy. By then, he had already decided to turn to Neoclassicism, seen when he entered a Neoclassical draft into a contest for Count Volkonsky Estate in 1903. Imagine getting a fucking study tour just by graduating. He was a very determined and outspoken man, seen in his campaigns for building preservation against the apartmental conversion of historical buildings. At this point, might I add, the first ever notable building that he had made was the Wilhelmina Mansion back in Skaterny Lane, Moscow. And it was rebuilt and it looks nothing like it did in 1896. It's just sad seeing as how he was so outspoken about this advocacy for building preservation. It is frighteningly disturbing. Mom, I think we should go. Fomin's work would be interrupted by the outbreak of World War I. By this point in the 1910s, he would be working on his greatest urban projects of that time: the Abimelech Lazarev's mansion and the Politsov mansion. As stated in this article by a Russian publication that I cannot pronounce,
these 2 monuments are the most studied and have earned high praise from almost all the authors who wrote about Fomin.
Here's an excerpt about the article that I was citing earlier, and this goes a little bit deeper about how Fomin created this building.
For this building, Fomin chooses a classic manner P-shaped plan. Partly it was due to the customer's wish, with an absolutely symmetrical composition and an axial construction of the interior space. It must be said that Fomin successfully combined the classic manor type with modern comfort requirements. The building had a central heating, an elevator, special heating of the winter garden. Perhaps in this building, Fomin is at least limited by the works of his predecessors than in the rest of his interior design work. The design work was completed only in 1916, and in 1926 Fomin had to rebuild the building, adapting it to a sanatorium.
You can read the full article in the description. Another project of Fomin's would also be interrupted, namely the Novi Peterburg. The Novi Peterburg was a massive project inspired by a European style of architecture called Palladian architecture. Only one building stands today, and it's a school on Kekovsky Street. The Russian Civil War would break out amidst the White Capitalist Army, the Red Communist Army, and many other factions fighting to determine Russia's future. This would halt all of the building projects currently in progress. Fortunately for Fomin, he secured a position in the St. Petersburg Zoning Commission, leading him to design the Field of Mars, and now considered historical grounds because of everything that has happened there. Until 1926, he would train a new generation of architects at Vykutimas, the State Art and Technical School at Moscow, founded in 1920. In this time frame, he would insist that a universal style of architecture would need to borrow concepts from classicism, but the details are negligible. This would result in an architectural order containing a simple set of elements, unbound by specific set of proportions. Ivan Fomin would work on 4 more projects before his son passing in 1936 due to a stroke. His legacy lived on as his son Igor Fomin also became an architect, practicing constructivism and also soon contributing to Stalinist architecture. I hope that you found this video a little bit entertaining and maybe even a little bit informative. I find Fomin fascinating because his aspirations are a bit childlike in a way. It's like when children go up to you and they say that they want to change the world someday. They want to see the world into they want to bring the world into a new light or something similar. They want to invent something crazy, something impossible. You know, that kind of mentality and that kind of feeling. Out of all the architects that I really looked at, his background really stood out. Not that it was really easy to find, but there was enough out there to tell this story, of course. But it wasn't as accessible as other notable architects such as Frank Lloyd Wright or Le Corbusier, but nonetheless, this video was really fun to make, and this is the first that I've made that was of this length, and for architecture too. So if you're still here in the end credits, if you ever made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. If there is a next time. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye.